This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the new Prologue EV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Live from the TCL Broadcast Studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
That at 2 hours ago. It's the first I've ever. Because you're not listening, Matt. At the very beginning of the show, I said, in the memory of Barbara Carlson, Pat and I will do the 3 to 4 hour in the hot tub.
Yes, and then not at any point did you say, make sure you have a hot tub sounder.
Do you have a hot tub sounder?
This sounds a little like Bab and the boys quibbling with each other, doesn't it?
I got a great note from Janet Schultz, Pat, who said, I liked Barbara. I'm sorry to hear of her passing. It took me time to locate this picture of her, my brother, and I. We were the only ones to take her up on our weekly invitation to join her on her Friday hot tub broadcast.
Okay.
She couldn't have been more gracious and funny. We were allowed to go into her home to change into our swimsuits. She lived in the upper level of a duplex in Kenwood, and her lower level neighbors were not amused. My brother thought he would escape going into the hot tub because he conveniently forgot to bring a swimming suit, but it was his lucky day because I brought one for him.
Okay.
This picture lives on to my brother's eternal consternation, but that's what happens when you hang out with me and we end up with Barbara Carlson. It was a great experience. I'll never forget. R.I.P. Barbara. And, of course, Barbara, in the tub, has got her pearl necklace on.
Yes, she does. And I found a little...
See, how's that water feel?
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Lather me up.
I never... I always resisted the urge to joining Barbara. A full-figured me and Barbara, that could have caused a flood, man. That would have been something. Boy,
you needed a new liner.
I've had some beauties. I had Davis. I had the great Yatesy. I had Willie Clark, briefly.
Yep.
I had
Milan and
Mishke. Freddie Mertz for a couple of weeks.
Never heard of
who
Mertz.
This guy was.
Well, you never worked with Barbara.
But I had Barbara. She's the most Turi Ryder in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That was always interesting.
Yeah.
But that was Barbara was by far the most interesting. And of course, she particularly enjoyed it in about 2000. She was on from 98 to 2002 for the morning show. Before that, she did the 9 to 11.
9 to 10:50.
9 to 10:50, which was a really good show. It was kind of the first current event show in town. She was interviewing politicians.
When was the period when she was talking about her husband's artificial swimsuit
that was more
area?
98 to 2002.
That bicycle pump to get that thing going.
Yeah. Jeez, Pete, she was... She was revealing some things that probably Pete would have preferred not to have out there in public.
Well, let's put it this way. She was candid.
She was an open book. She was an open book.
What does that sound? What is that called on your library? That noise.
This right here?
Yeah.
Hot tub sounder. RelaxingWhiteNoise.com.
Okay. All right. That's good. Can you turn it down?
You can take it off now. That's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we know that you can do it.
Yeah.
Well, every once in a while she'd pop up, and usually the boys, Babs and the boys would carry the sports conversation. But once in a while she'd be fired up and.
What does emailer Janet Schultz mean when she said that she and her brother were the only ones to take her up?
I guess she had. I thought she had guests in the hot tub.
Maybe at one time she
had listeners.
Put it out to the public or something.
Yeah, listeners get in the hot tub with Barb.
Yeah.
I wonder when Babs came up with that idea, what management they pretty much let her do what she wanted to do.
Well, Cal Spa was a huge sponsor. So that
okay.
was, she had a custom Cal Spa done. And that was the big, let's do a Friday hot tub show.
How did she go from the riches to rags? What happened? There was a big piece in the Star Tribune.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Well,
reading.
she basically said her whole life, she said, had 2 words, charge it.
Oh, okay.
She spent, she just,
She just ran out of dough.
She just ran out of money.
Okay.
But she didn't run out of her taste for the high life, I guess.
But she liked estate sales. She liked antiquing. She liked all that stuff. And she was pretty good at it, too.
I bet she
just couldn't
never
make
came
money.
into one of those estate sales and paid retail. I bet she'd try to beat you up bad, right?
I want to buy this for right here. Yeah. She'd probably get in their face.
Well, the program director, Brad Lane, had the privilege of working with her. But we're going to have him in for a couple of minutes at 4:15 or so to recall the Babs and the Boys show. One year, Joe, I was diligently keeping track of her unexcused absences because when she was doing 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., she wasn't totally reliable as far as showing up for work. And
remember,
so when it was a non-vacation period and she didn't show up, I had I was on the microphone in my studio then, in my home.
Yeah.
And I had a little accounting there on the side, and then I said, Babs, you missed yesterday. It wasn't a vacation day. You've now had 16 unexcused absences. That had really upset her. She was really bad that I was keeping track of her unexcused absences.
Remember that when you filled in for Barbara Carlson, that was full-time work. If you were a fill-in for Barbara, it was almost full-time work.
That's how I got my gig.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
You filled in for her a couple
Barbara.
mornings? Boy, you must have been greeted like a old long-lost buddy by those morning guys to have someone marginally sane coming in to do the show.
Now that you mention it, I probably did it so often that's why I ended up with the show, because she must have had too many absences.
Oh, yeah. They said once in a while she'd go out here, and there's a little couch out here, and she'd going to do a little reading beforehand, and she'd fall dead asleep because it was 5 in the morning and they wouldn't wake her up. They just start doing the show.
Plus, she was in her nightgown and nobody wanted to approach her.
5:20, she'd come bursting through the doors saying, she was a beauty. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, you're done with Wyomania?
I hope so. I really do.
But that's the University of Wyoming Cowboys.
Yes.
And this came up today. The school spent $500,000 on a marketing firm in Boulder, and that came up with the slogan, "The world needs more cowboys." Okay. And it's played well with their focus groups and all that. But the faculty, a faction of the faculty said this cannot be, because that suggests heterosexual masculinity and racism and everything else because of the Cowboys.
But even though the nickname is the Cowboys. Of the school, what has the school done? Have they backed off, or
no? School's holding firm.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right. Well, it's a bow to the white male. Well, there were a few black cowboys. Don't you ever go to a Western movie? There's always a few black.
And there was
cowboys.
Brokeback Mountain.
Sure, that was.
What the world needs is more Brokeback Mountains. Could be
they were both cowboys. What's the problem?
Yeah. And as Joe cited,
no heterosexuality there.
No. Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, we had the African American sheriff.
Right. We did.
Yeah. The sheriff is
near.
He's not far away.
Is near.
Not far away at all. Just around the corner.
A movie that could not be made in 2018.
If you did, it would be your last movie.
Right.
Sing me some of those.
Oh, my favorite line in the thing is, okay, we'll take the African Americans and the Chinese, but we didn't use those terms. No. But we don't want the Irish. That was and then he said, "Oh, prairie bleep, we'll take them all."
Oh my God!
I love it when damn, we almost lost a $400 push cart.
Hand car.
Was it Cleavon Little?
Cleavon Little.
He couldn't have played that role better.
Oh, man.
God. Because he was totally amused by these people.
And he tried to get somebody, they tried to hire somebody else. He was the second choice. I can't remember. It was
really?
some other black guy. I can't remember who it was that they tried to hire. One of my other favorites is they're asking him when they're interviewing him to be part of the team,
right.
the group that's going to invade Rock Ridge. And then what crimes you stampede and what do you do? And the one guy says, "Oh, I rustle cattle and I stampede and I rape and then he did something else and then he said rape again." And the guy says, "He said rape twice." He said, "I like rape." And you couldn't get away with that.
No, you can't write that.
You can't get away with that today.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Show. We are live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, KSTP AM radio, and we want to welcome C-SPAN to the state of Minnesota. We're delighted to have you, and we are going to show you a rip-roaring time in Minnesota because this is radio with a political bent, but sometimes I do like to goose my guess.
Goose,
so to speak.
Goose.
Now, was that in the hot tub?
No, I don't.
No, I have.
You added that.
I have the technology over here to. I can maybe run two at once because I can get a sounder.
I got you.
All right. Did you see the? By the way, France won, Belgium nothing. Sad to report. I was rooting for Belgium.
So can England beat Croatia?
They should beat Croatia. Although Belgium was slightly favored over France today, but even though the referee was crooked. France.
Wouldn't England and France be a wonderful final?
I guess. It would be very good.
I've not seen 1 second of any of this.
We have the PGA Tour schedule, finally, that starts this fall.
Do you want one on the 4th of July?
Starts this fall. That's when we ended up with it, the 4th of July.
That's when the cities kind of empty out.
Well, hopefully enough people will stick around. We're going to talk to Hollis a little later. The one good thing might be the summer schedule now is so short that people will be out looking for FedEx points even then. When the championship is next year, the Tour Championship?
No.
August 19th to the 25th.
That's getting early.
The weekend before the Labor Day is when they're going to have it, and Labor Day next year is on the 1st, apparently. Mm-hmm. That's East Lake. Here's what went away. The Bridgestone, gone. Oh. Invitational, the World Series at Akron that's been there 100 years. Mm-hmm. That's out. Memphis has now got a WGC event at the end of July for the simple reason that FedEx said, if you want us to renew our hefty contract as the big event, the FedEx Cup Points, which is a tens of millions of dollars contract, we want a WGC World Golf event in Memphis. So Akron got shortchanged. Apparently, Akron will end up with some kind of a tournament next year. But the other thing that went away is the Deutsche Bank, the thing in Boston, which actually had changed sponsors. They're only going to have 2 playoffs now instead of 3. So they had Boston, New York, and then the one in the Midwest.
Does this suggest golf's falling on hard times?
No, it more suggests that, they want to move everything up to get away from the NFL. They get terrible ratings starting on Labor Day. I don't know why now next year they got to squeeze in the Olympics. So I don't know what that does to the schedule next year. But the 2 big things to me were what's going to happen to the Deutsche Bank New Yorkie one. It's gonna I think they call it the Northern. I don't even know what the hell they call it now. But it's one of the 2 playoffs. It's going to alternate between New York and Boston now. And then the one out here, the BMW, which BMW is going away as a sponsor, I heard.
I read negotiations are underway for a $10 million winner-take-all match between Mickelson and Woods.
That's what Phil says, yes. They're trying to arrange that. I think
would that be exciting or no?
If they're putting their own money in, it would. But the fact that it sponsors money, I mean, 2 guys past their prime, I wouldn't give a damn who won. So
I would want to see more guys in the field, too.
Well, then you kind of.
I think
defeat
it'd
the
be
purpose.
fascinating if you saw Woods throw in his $5 million and Mickelson throw in his $5 million.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have had a notary to say this is their money.
Right.
And that'd be fun.
Then
But
I wouldn't
I
miss
don't know.
one shot of it.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway.
Well, didn't Woods used to do these midsummer
Yes.
events out in the desert?
And, well, most of them, remember, they were at night. They had
Yeah.
lights on the golf course.
Yeah.
Shadow something.
Yeah.
It was out in,
Shadow Creek?
no, that Shadow Creek is the biggest one.
Shadow Falls.
It was out in Southern California.
It was in the
someplace.
desert area. It was in the Palm Desert
Yeah.
area.
Yep. And they played about 2 or 3 of them at night, and it would start in late daylight and end up at night. So with lights. So
Twins, now 8 games.
Under
Inching.
500?
Inching.
Under 500.
And Cleveland's lost 3 straight. The Twins have gained 3 games on them. Only 8.5 out, baby.
All we got to do is win the division
8.5 out. Yeah.
and keep playing Kansas City and Baltimore.
Yes,
wow,
Kansas
is
City.
Kansas City bad?
Well, they can't hit.
They,
much.
yeah.
28 out of, and Danny Duffy, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yes, I
though.
would.
Man, he's got good stuff. But they've lost 28 out of 32. 28 out of 32.
What was the great tweet, Pat? We were talking about off the air that you.
Flanny, Jeff Flanagan, he says, I don't know, he said, and now on to Minneapolis for more fun.
Right.
Or more something.
Let the fun continue
Let
in
the
Minneapolis.
Fun continue in Minneapolis with the. Yeah, he's a veteran ball rider
God.
down there, Jeff Flanagan.
But they're pretty much the Kansas City fan base. Are they still on cloud 9 because of the World Series run?
well, they're not bitter as they,
because they went for it and they actually won it.
And then last year they tried to hold serve and they thought they were going to get the wild card because remember the Twins sold at the deadline and the Royals kept all their players and they were 5 games ahead of the Twins. And then they went in the tank.
Wasn't it the occasion of the Kansas City World Series victory that we learned or we were introduced to the technology and stuff guy? Wasn't that in Kansas City?
You're right.
Yes, was
because
he?
Bumgarner was holding the
thought
trophy
it
when
was
they
the
lost
Giants. I
it.
thought it
Yeah,
was
but
the Giants.
Bumgarner beat Kansas City in Game 7.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then the next year Kansas City won the World Series.
They beat the
Kansas
Mets.
City was in 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It combines class winning and leading,
Poor guy.
technology and stuff with why.
Wait, let's improve it a little. Let's improve it a little bit. Give it a.
Oh, there we go.
It combines class winning and leading, technology and stuff with Wi-Fi powered by OnStar.
He would have looked good in a Speedo in that. That guy would have looked
With
good
you
in a
and
Speedo.
Barbara.
To this day, I think GM completely blew it
Yeah, they did.
by not capitalizing on
Yes,
this guy.
yeah.
Completely
In that
blew it.
moment,
They have no sense. National advertisers have no sense of
He
humor.
would have been on every late night show.
Oh, God.
He would have been on billboards, the technology and stuff guy.
that night too, in that suit weighed an extra 20 pounds because of sweat.
oh,
Yeah,
he was
they-
wringing wet.
They
was
should have.
Albert
They should have
Brooks.
called up Letterman and or whoever was on.
Get him on. Who?
And right then
Rick
and
from accounting.
Say, who do you want? Who wants him?
Yeah.
Who wants him? We'll ship him in there, man. Wonder if he still got the job. What was his name, Rick?
He's like a regional
regional
parts
manager.
or
Yes,
something like that.
He worked in the garage, I
Right.
guess.
We'll be back in a moment.
We couldn't even get the president of the company for the for baseball.
But now, thanks to our good friends in Owatonna, Minnesota, at Federated Insurance, where it's their business to protect your business, and nobody does that better than Federated. It's Bruce Vail from the Wall Street Journal and Your Money Now.
Well, we had a pretty decent day today. Stocks were higher at the close for a 4th straight day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted another triple-digit gain. The Dow gained 143 points today, moving to 24,919. The Nasdaq Composite up just 3 points, and the S&P 500 gained 9. Microsoft is cutting prices on its Surface devices, introducing a $399 tablet to compete with Apple's least expensive iPads. The new 10-inch Surface Go is the least costly among the 5 devices Microsoft makes. The Surface Go is aimed at the same people who might buy Apple's 9.7-inch iPad, which starts at $329. The NFL Players Association has filed a grievance over the league's new national anthem policy, saying it infringes on player rights and is inconsistent with the union's collective bargaining agreement. The revised rules require players on the field to stand and show respect for the flag during the anthem, but they can stay in the locker room if they want. The new rules allow teams to enact their own disciplinary policies to address violations. The NFL enacted the rules as a way to try to end the recent protests. I'm Bruce Vail with your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
All righty. Thank you, Bruce. This traffic sponsored by Jersey Mike Subs. Not a bad start. We do have some congestion and a couple of incidents. A crash on 35W northbound north of Washington Avenue. The right shoulder there is blocked. Another crash on the south side on 35W northbound at 82nd Street. The right shoulder there is blocked. Want to win a rockin' trip from Jersey Mike's and Pepsi? Stop into Jersey Mike's today to enter. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends August 14th. See official rules at PepsiRockThisWay.com. Forecast 70 tonight, 92 tomorrow. Right now it's 82 degrees.
Here's John Hyde in the Sports Talk TCL Broadcast Studios newsroom. And he's in the hot tub now. Joining in the tub.
Nice. Partly sunny and 82 degrees. Twins Royals tonight at Target Field. Aaron Schlegers with another start for the Twins. Veteran Ian Kennedy, who's not having a good season pitching for the Royals.
Coming off the DL, I believe.
Is he?
Ian Kennedy, yes.
He's 1-8 so far this year. A ERA over 5. World Cup action today. France shuts out Belgium 1-0. Big Belgium rooting section here in this building, man.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Sean, a big fan of
Big
Belgium.
fan. Yep.
Why?
I don't know. I
gotta have someone to root for.
I just rooted for them because I think Belgium needs it more than France. You know, little country.
Belgium is basically a concept.
Yes, they don't even know what language to speak. They got the French, the German, and the Flemish.
Yeah.
Well, following months of speculation and guessing, the PGA Tour today officially released the 2018-19 wraparound schedule, and as Mr. Royce predicted a long time ago, the inaugural 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities in Blaine will be played July 4th through
Johnny,
7th.
I did more than predict. I said it.
You said it was happening. Yes, you didn't just predict it. You said
true.
that's the way it was. News notes from today. Waite Park police say 2 men were killed last night when the vehicle they were traveling in was hit by a wrong-way driver. Release said 61-year-old Richard Tomlinson of Grantsburg, Wisconsin, was driving a 1970 Chevrolet El Camino eastbound on Division Street West near 4th Street South when the car was hit head-on by a 2010 Chevrolet Malibu driven by 28-year-old Charlie Barnett of St. Cloud. Barnett's vehicle traveling westbound in the eastbound lane.
Wow.
Tomlinson died at the scene. His passenger in the El Camino, 77-year-old Roger Nelson of Clearwater, died after being transported to St. Cloud Hospital. The release said Tomlinson was in town to test drive the El Camino and possibly buy it from Nelson. Barnett,
Was that on Division, you said? Or where was it on?
Division Street West near 4th Avenue South.
That's basically their main drag, isn't it?
Yes.
Barnett was taken to St. Cloud Hospital. The release said he's being guarded by law enforcement, will be transported to the Stearns County Jail when he's discharged from the hospital. Charges are pending. It happened last night around 7:15. A pharmacist from Maple Grove has pleaded guilty to charges he tried to steal drugs from the pharmacies where he worked. Court records show 49-year-old Jeffrey Grothos entered guilty pleas to 4 counts of felony theft by swindle in Hennepin County, sentencing scheduled for August. A release from the county's attorney's office in April said Grothos was accused of stealing about 20,000 pills of 5 different drugs.
That's a little more than he needed. I was going to say, what's the point of being a pharmacist if you can't grab a little pick-me-up once in a while? But
Right.
20,000 pills is a little different.
I don't quite know that they teach that in pharmaceutical school, but maybe it's a perk.
You're giving somebody 30 of them, right? 30 painkillers.
Why not
take a couple out? Are they going to count
28,
them?
let's
Who's
go.
going to count them?
They're going to be sitting around anyway when they don't use them, right?
That's true.
A young Jimmy Stewart would have noted that. Remember that scene in It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes.
Rook?
Mary, don't you know me? Mary, welcome to the hot tub, Mary. Mary, come on in. You're an old maid, Mary.
As long as you guys were talking...
Barbara did sound a little like Jimmy Stewart.
As long as you guys were talking Blazing Saddles earlier, I wasn't in here, wasn't able, and I haven't thought about Blazing Saddles earlier today when Joe, you came over to fill out some stuff we needed to fill out. You couldn't get my mouse to work.
Right.
And all I could think of in my head, because the mouse works great for me, was the scene where Mel Brooks as the governor's trying to use the toy with the rubber ball in the end, and he can't. And Harvey Korman picks it up and uses it perfectly and said, right again, sir. That's all I could think of. This thing's defective. How come I always get a defective one?
Mongo only pawn in game of life.
All eyes were on President Trump last night as he announced his nomination of Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court, but not all viewers apparently were excited to watch. Apparently, the president angered Bachelor Nation when ABC cut to his announcement during The Bachelorette. Mr. Trump's primetime announcement meant Bachelorette fans were cut off from the reality competition dating show for 20 minutes.
Did we not then go back to it?
They went back to it, yes.
But especially in Minnesota, because it's a Minnesota gal.
Is it Becca still?
Becca
Yes.
Cuffrin? Is it?
Becca's throwing out the first ball tonight.
Really?
At the Twins game, I heard that.
Though viewers did not actually miss any moments from the show, which picked up where it left off after the announcement, some still took to social media to complain about the interruption. A lot of fans pointed out this wasn't the first time the president had interrupted The Bachelorette.
He's not making America great again.
His meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un preempted part of the June 11th episode.
Oh, no.
One viewer joked, "This is the second time the government has interrupted my Bachelorette viewing, and I'm about ready to switch to a political science major and run for president, so no one else's Monday night will ever be ruined again."
Wow. All right,
America,
Joe, I got to ask
2018.
you a question. The Twins slogan that they came up with for Rosario, "Accept the Rosie," did you know where that came from?
No.
Neither did I.
Except this, Rosie.
Neither did
Except
I.
this Rosie.
Yes.
Apparently it comes from... Are the Bachelor and the Bachelorette the same thing, just a spin-off of each other?
Well, it's male and female, but yes,
But,
they're
yeah,
essentially
but
the
they're
same thing.
show.
So the chicks are picking guys and the guys are picking
And then
chicks.
apparently when you pick the chick or pick the guy, do both of them say, "Accept this rose"? Mm-hmm. That means
That's what the Twins came up with?
Yeah, accept this Rosie.
You Duluth Foghorn that, please. I can't find it right at the off the top of my head. This is how we baseball. Accept this Rosie.
Accept this Rosie.
God.
They got no chance. 18-0. They're like the black girl on The Bachelor. They got no chance.
Who watches that?
Well,
What age group?
not 60 to 70-year-olds. I can tell you that right now.
Not me.
70 to 80-year-olds.
No, it's
you got your freshly graduated 18-year-old, and then you've got your senior in college 22-year-old, and then the 49-year-old. So there's a wide range.
So
We're doomed.
It's mostly females audience, both sides.
Oh, no.
Joe, will you fire him,
you
please?
can't get fired.
I'm not
Fire
going to
him.
get
What did you
fired.
just do?
He
He raised his hand. He
He
watches that.
Well, he goes to cat videos.
No, I will say it was on in my house. I did not sit down and watch it.
You know
And
what
I
I
couldn't
do
because-
if I walk in the room and something's in my house I don't like, I go to another room.
See,
We have one TV.
Technically, I wasn't watching it because I was looking down as I was painting her toenails, so I didn't actually see the.
You would actually admit that in
If you go to
public?
the Instagram GL Rookie 13, you can see the.
Take the GL part of it off. God almighty, you're getting worse by the minute.
I tell you,
That picture was posted all over social media the other day.
It was. It was kind of. I wanted to taunt a little bit, and I knew that the GLers would react.
Holy mackerel.
So technically, I didn't watch The Bachelorette.
You know, Joe raises an interesting question. When is the Cat Video Festival this year? It's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, really good food there. Really good food.
You know, I've told you guys about the time that...
If only John would keep talking a lot.
I told you about the time that Highland and I were drunk at the baseball winter meetings out in Fat City, and we ate from the tamales cart. And a couple of days later, they arrested a guy out there selling tamales that were made out of cat.
Ooh, wow.
You start licking your paw.
Right. Them's good eating. Update on a story.
Very tender cat.
Update on a story we had a while ago. An FBI agent accused of accidentally dropping and firing his gun while he was dancing at a Denver night spot. he can carry his weapon again.
Oh, good.
A judge approved the change to Chase Bishop's release conditions today.
I think those guys are just, those FBI agents are just a bunch of hounds.
You think so?
I think they spend I think they're worse than athletes. I think they're just a bunch of hounds.
I'm in the FBI. Something like that, yeah.
All right.
29.
Can't tell you, I'd have to kill you.
I want to frisk you.
He's got the plastic badge.
29-year-old Bishop, who lives and works in Washington, D.C., is charged with second-degree assault in the June 2nd shooting incident. When the weapon, he tried to pick it up after it fell. It did hit somebody in the leg when it went off. Bishop had his protection order modified to allow him to carry his service weapon both on and off duty, so long as it's done in a manner pursuant to FBI policy. His lawyer said the FBI strongly encourages its agents to carry their guns when they're not working. Bishop's blood alcohol tests, which won't be released, don't warrant further charges, prosecutors told the paper. Colorado law prohibits anyone from carrying a gun under the influence of alcohol, so apparently he was not under the influence of alcohol.
He was just dancing up a storm.
He was just dancing.
Trying to get lucky.
He did a backflip, if you missed the video. His gun fell out of his waistband. He reached over to pick it up, and that's when the gun went off, hitting the fella in the leg. The man who was wounded and his family had no objection.
What was his name, Barney?
His name was Chase.
The family's not angry?
The defense said the man who was wounded and his family have no objection to Bishop carrying a weapon. Injury was serious, but the victim should recover.
I would not have that response.
Did he get a little settlement?
Oh, he
must have got a little
He
settlement.
did a complete backflip, and then the gun fell out. As he picked it up, it went off.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the poor when he was at a wedding one time, a little overserved, and he did the backflip on the dance floor right into the tea cart. that the silver tea cart was everywhere.
In Australia, authorities have caught a saltwater crocodile measuring almost 16 and a half feet long. One of the biggest ever caught. Weighs 1,322 pounds. It's believed to be 60 years old. It's the biggest ever removed from the Catherine River in the remote Northern Territory of Australia. It was moved to live out its days at a crocodile farm.
And it will appear at Jim and Ray's zip line of death.
Sherwood Country Club is where.
Yes, sir.
Jesus. God almighty.
Sure.
We're back in the hot
No
tub.
sneezing in the hot tub.
Sherwood Country Club is where Tiger had those night matches.
But they didn't have
I like it when you sneeze and you talk like this.
Thank God there weren't any 16 and a half foot Crocs there.
You say that was Sherwood, eh? Not the forest, but the country club.
Not Sherwood Forest. Though. That's
Hey, I
Kelsey
gotta-
again doing the work that you guys should.
I got to ask you a question.
Who, me?
Are you using
has
one of
been
your?
seizing?
Are you using one of your Wednesdays tomorrow?
You have an
Not tomorrow.
How many
what's
do
the
I have
count?
left?
What's the count?
I got two left, don't I?
You're at 3 now, and the dot has started for
I
the
got
4th.
2 left. I got 2 left.
Yeah, 3 full, and then there's a 4th.
No.
Single
I got
dot
2
that has
left.
started.
I got 2 left.
Well, you got that fraction though. You
There's
left
no
early.
fraction.
Right,
There's
you're
no
gonna have to
fraction.
miss
Left a little
you're gonna have to
early,
miss
yeah.
the red light for. You have to miss the light for one of those days.
We have renamed it to the Barbara Carlson Memorial Mayoral Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right.
Rangers had been hunting this crocodile since it was first spotted in 2010. It took
I saw
this
the
long to
pictures
find
of
it.
this thing.
It was
Why are
rather
they
large.
picking on it?
The size of a Honda Accord.
Yes, but why are they picking on it, Johnny? Why did they have to remove it?
Well, I think they don't want a croc that big in a place where people habitate.
Oh, there are.
Yeah, but we had the
people.
one guy on the golf course forever, and he was, part of the crew.
He was big, yeah. He
Yeah.
was big, too. Authorities routinely move them in Australia, apparently, away from people, according to this story. In fact, last year, 371 crocs captured by rangers in the Northern Territory cities of Darwin, Palmerston, and Catherine, according to the department's website.
John, if an
Yes.
alligator fought a crocodile, who'd win? What do you think?
I'm going with the croc.
Who you betting on?
They're bigger.
Crocs usually
Crocs
bigger.
are bigger.
Who's got the bigger mouth? Who
I
can
think a
open the
croc
mouth
does.
wider?
I think a croc does.
Okay.
Well, this guy would have defeated anything on Earth.
In Florida, Earl Stevens Jr. told investigators he was not drinking while driving. He said he was just downing bourbon while stopped at traffic signals and stop signs.
Well,
He's not driving.
Yeah,
He's parked.
Yeah.
Stevens' explanation did not keep him out of jail on a DUI charge following a June 27th incident in Vero Beach. Indian River County Sheriff's officials went to a McDonald's that day for a possible disturbance. A woman said a vehicle behind her in the drive-thru kept hitting the rear bumper of her car.
Oh, my God.
Whoops.
She pointed to a vehicle driven by the 69-year-old Stevens of Vero Beach. Stevens said he's never had a valid Florida's driver's license. Deputies noticed he did have an open bottle of liquor in a brown paper bag in the passenger seat. They asked him how he was doing. Police said he smelled of booze and answered he felt pretty good.
I'm doing pretty well.
Check this out. So he wasn't driving. He would only drink when he was stopped.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said he was drinking Jim Beam bourbon from the bottle, and he said he was drinking at stop signs. The
He saw that Mila Kunis ad and went out and got himself a jug of Jim Beam.
The affidavit said he further explained he was not drinking while the car was moving and only when he stopped for stop signs or any traffic signals. He said he imbibed actively from Port St. Lucie to Indian River County. He said there's a lot of stop signs and traffic signals between those
This
two
guy's
areas.
he's starting to build a pretty good
Yes,
case.
he is.
His blood alcohol content at the time, 0.15 and later 0.14, both higher than the 0.08 legal.
Wait, how
in
did it go
Florida.
down?
Yeah, well, he quit drinking after police.
Okay.
Police arrested him.
He drank a
Tested
lot
him
of
a couple
water.
hours later.
Stevens also had 2 earlier DUI charges in Missouri. In British Columbia, Abbotsford Police Constable Harv Mangot keeps running across over-ambitious motorists trying to haul too much with too little. This past weekend, he put on Twitter he was involved in handing out more than $2,000 in fines to a driver who tried to tow a precariously balanced sailboat that was stabilized with pallets and duct tape.
I saw this. I saw
Did
this.
you see it?
Yeah.
Bad idea.
A decent boat. And this guy had a trailer, and he duct taped the boat to it.
That'll
This
set
is
it there.
Good advertisement for duct tape,
I guess.
man.
Tweets from the constable showed pictures and said the trailer also had no brakes, while straps were held together with duct tape. The trailer and boat were towed away. A week earlier, the constable had tweeted pictures of a small car he pulled over. It was weighed down by an astounding amount of wood and brush. When told why he was pulled over, Mangate said the driver replied with, "No need to worry, sir. I tied it down with my old garden hose." That driver also ticketed. A grandfather who was asked to record a marriage proposal in New Mexico ended up accidentally recording video of his own reaction instead.
That's, I can identify.
You can relate to that.
I can relate to
I
that.
was just going to suggest he's the first guest in Technology Corner with Joe and Pat.
He had it turned inward, huh?
Jace Flouting was visiting Sandia Peak Tramway in Albuquerque with his grandpa, John Hart, when a fellow tourist asked Flouting to record his marriage proposal. Said he handed the man's iPhone
I would have done that.
to his grandfather, and
You
it was
guys look great.
only after the proposal that everyone discovered Hart had been holding the phone backward. Flouting wrote on YouTube he thought he was filming the proposal the whole time, but all we saw in playback was his genuine, heartfelt reaction to the proposal. Hart said he actually struck up a conversation with the soon-to-be groom before the proposal. Luckily for him, the groom just laughed about it.
I was so excited I couldn't hold my binoculars still.
Johnny's got to do traffic. We better let him go.
Okay.
So we were talking about Thousand Oaks, California, where the Dallas Cowboys originally used to go for a training camp. They still go to, even though they have one of these fancy dancy new facilities at home, just like the Vikings now have, and they have a stadium in there, I believe, with a roof on it. They still go to Oxnard, California for training camp. Right on the water there, nice and cool breeze, and they stay there from July 25th to August 17th.
Even though they could do it in Texas in an air-conditioned building.
They could stay right there. They apparently like that old tradition.
Where's Green
going to
Bay? Is
California.
Green Bay still
Green Bay is right there.
Yeah,
they basically have
St. Norbert's.
They used to have it at St. Norbert's, but I think they just have it right at their own facility now. And I saw that Coach McCarthy this year is only going to have one practice a day in the middle of the day. that'll upset those Packer fans because they used to like having the morning and the afternoon practices.
Has Kansas City long since been gone from River Falls?
Yes, I think they're down in Kansas City. I don't know. When you're in a real hot climate, how do you have football practice? I mean, it's bad enough here once in a while. I don't know how they get away, how they do it when they're in a real hot climate.
I know the Jets used to be at Hofstra. That's where they would have their camp.
Well, you know that the New York Giants, I believe, trained 2 or 3 years at St. Peter at Gustavus.
Really?
I think it was at Gustavus, yeah.
What do you have coming up?
I have Hollis Gavner to talk about the officially having the July 4th
There's that hot
weekend 3M Open. And we also have Tom Kelly talk some ball. So we're in good shape. And Brad Lane's going to stop in with a couple of Barbara Carlson stories.
Of which there are...
several thousand.
Several thousand.
We'll limit those to ones that will fit into this quality broadcast.
The Twins are 8... What do we get to now?
We're
8
40
games,
and 48, I believe.
We're 8 games below 500. And if they sweep this home series, they'll still be 2 games below 500.
If they win the rest of them.
Right.
Beat Kansas City twice and then Tampa Bay 4 times. Tampa Bay, one of the surprise teams of the year, having a very good year. They just unveiled their plan for an $800 and some million dome stadium on the water in Tampa.
Really?
But now all they got to do is come up with the money. They got the plan.
Yeah.
They don't have the money.
1500 ESPN is KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis. It's 83, and tomorrow it sounds like we'll have to have Operation Stay Cool because we're going to have the heat index. Patrick is next.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. It's crazy to think that a few weeks ago we were talking about whether or not Tua Tagovailoa should consider retiring. After 2 concussions and worldwide debates on player safety and NFL culpability, Tua has done nothing but go back to work and currently has the Dolphins riding a 3-game win streak and 1 loss behind the division favorite Buffalo Bills. While everyone was yapping about the end of his career, Tua Tagovailoa said he'll decide when it's time. And clearly, he's not ready to hang up the cleats. Hi, this is Chris Howard from the Plugged In with Chris Howard podcast. BetOnline.net is your #1 source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting, up-to-the-minute scores for the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including the MLB playoffs, the start of the NHL season, MMA, boxing, and golf. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.